Mr. O'Brien.
You're trying to seduce me. Aren't you?
Good evening and welcome to the Joust. My name is Naggy. I'm here once again, joined once again, reunited, and it feels not bad with my co-host Liam McNeil.
I'm back. I've been stricken with illness. Whatever it is that's been going around, Joust, as I've got it, you've probably got it, we've all had it. My word, it's tearing the population of Australia asunder.
That's right.
It's rendering us all useless.
Is it the cold that brings on the illness? Seems like
I don't know what it is. It's something. I don't think I've had to have more sick days in the last month than I've had my whole life. It's terrible.
I think that's why the people in the northern hemisphere, the cold places, they want to come to hot places. They assume that when you get hot, and sickness just goes away.
They're wrong. They're not doctors. They're not medical professionals. They shouldn't be making assumptions like that. It's their own fault for making an assumption.
That's right. No,
Probably they read about it in an article in The Guardian or something.
Yeah, that old rag.
That old rag.
Well, Liam, we have a very special musical guest joining us again for the very first time. Again, for the very first time this week. It gives me great pleasure to welcome to the Joust stage, Mr. Crocodile Jones.
We're 6 and 9.
Now, obviously, Lou Bega hit it pretty big with Mambo number 5.
Yes.
But you don't hear much about Mambos 1 through 4, do you?
I think
were they on the cutting room floor, do you think?
I think when they released Mambo number 4, they really came into their own. I think that's really when they found their groove.
It was a series of refinements spread over 4 parts. And number 5, that's where they hit.
Is Mambo number 3 like that Sigourney Weaver that's on the inside of the tube in Alien Resurrection? That
Kill me
quite
now. Kill me, please.
And you guys don't know this, Justice, but Lou Bega's still holed up in a garage somewhere. He's up to about Mambo number 72. It's driving him mental. He's lost his mind.
He owes a lot of money. They say keep singing.
Keep pumping him out,
keep
Lou.
Making the mumbos.
What a terrible song.
No, yeah,
don't like it.
It's not great.
How did it catch on?
I don't know. It was huge. I remember for a while there.
It was around the time of the Macarena. We loved novelty foreign songs at the
yeah.
time. Macarena was a big one, obviously.
It was.
Novelty foreign songs. Remember Eiffel 65 had Blue Dabba Dee Dabba Da. They were French.
Yeah.
So it's all the foreigners. It's all them, being questionable.
I think it was also, it gave a lot of confidence to a lot of men that to sing any song karaoke, because it's very sort of up, down, move all around. It's very sort of...
It's an interactive song.
Yeah.
And few people know more about karaoke than yourself, Naggy, of course. So having your karaoke opinion carries a lot of weight.
Yes.
But you're right, it's an interactive song. You say you move up and you move down, you shake it all around. However it goes.
It's a little bit like Wiggles, really. Like if it's going in, it's going out. If it's going up, it's going down. Your left hand in, left hand out. Like you can really just sort of follow it as it goes. Yeah.
That's the other thing. It was those weird foreign songs that were just instructing you to make odd movements.
And then him just claiming within the song how many women that he'd slept with and just naming them.
Well, see, that's the thing. He should have named 5 women.
Yeah. They should all be the Mumbos.
There should be one woman for each Mumbo.
Angela Mumbo.
Yeah. What's the significance of the 5?
Just making his way through the Mumbo family? Is that what you're telling me?
It was really copped it from Lou Bega.
Mumbo number 7 was a confusing night he had with the brother.
They ran out of sisters.
That one never made it out of the editing room.
No. They said, Lou, I think you should take some time off.
You're going to shower in the morning.
Liam, it's very important for us to talk about everything Newcastle Knights.
Oh, yes.
Especially
I love doing that.
The marvellous win over the Redcliffe Dolphins.
Fantastic win.
Everyone thought that
groundbreaking win, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, I think it's very groundbreaking, especially for Newcastle Knights supporters. Every win's very important, very special to us.
Each more so than the one before.
That's right, and especially when we're not sure when the next one's coming.
No.
But we have to look broad, Lim, at the NRL information that's coming in and out and all around, everything making the headlines in a segment we like to call the news. Thank you, crock.
It's all news all the time. Information everywhere. Ebbing and flowing, throbbing through the airwaves.
Yeah.
I love news.
24-hour news cycle. We need to feed it. Feed
That's
the
too many
masses.
hours for the news cycle.
No, that's
it shouldn't
right.
be that many hours.
Used to be one.
One.
Used to be 1 hour at the end of the night.
And it was a different hour in each household. Some had 1 hour for NBN News.
That's right.
My household, of course, we had 1 hour for the ABC,
ABC,
News,
yeah.
Prime News. It depends.
The
What
weather-
news did you guys watch? Were you
I think I could...
being in the region? You would have been NBN,
I
right?
think I was, well, NBN as well as potentially... I did see a lot of Richard Moorcroft.
Wonderful man. We've discussed at length the greatness of Richard Moorcroft,
Yeah.
but every time I think of that man, I think, what an honest paragon of virtue.
And then as we moved into adulthood, I got to see
sells
him
crypto now.
As, does he? I got to see
I was
him.
about
Richard,
to jump
sorry.
out the window, Sam. You had me you had me teetering on the edge there.
I saw him with letters and numbers. That was
Great show.
yeah.
He hosted that so well.
No, he did. But Liam, it was a bit of a sad start to the news.
Devastating, Naggy.
With a man, Fletcher Sharp, that we thought, he's only a slight fellow, strong,
Powerful,
powerful. But we thought he just keeps playing above his weight, as they say. He can't be stopped. He's made of steel, not
He's
like
playing like a man with two kidneys, but
Yeah,
no longer will he do that.
No longer will he do that. A very uncomfortable tackle there from Jeremy Marshall King,
yeah.
all three of them.
Because, of course, he went off with the HIA because they thought he just bonked his noggin. But
Yes.
watching at the time, the way he was gripping his side, so that's not a noggin
He
industry.
went down
injury.
with elbows flat on the ground and the head down. And you think that's, maybe he's hurt his head, but he looked like he's in a lot of pain.
Well, that reminds me, remember that time where Kurt Mann was ordered to leave the field for a HIA when, in fact, he'd been hit in his testicles.
Oh, yes.
This was similar to that. They said, it's a HIA.
It was a head injury.
And, being the medical professionals that we are.
That's right.
We said, hang on.
Hang
No,
on.
I don't think that one's right.
Wrong head.
I think the independent doctor's got it wrong again.
Testicles.
Testicles.
That's right.
I think Nathan Brown said if he hurt his big head instead of his little head, he would be in this trouble.
But
But it was an awkward tackle from behind. That's where your kidneys live. It's right there in your.
and we were discussing just a couple of weeks ago the
bits.
the bits, yeah.
Of where your kidneys
Now,
live.
what's the word when you're open to getting? Oh, shiver me.
Oh, when
timbers.
when you're on your knees and you're worried about
Yeah.
being tackled from behind.
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was one of those vulnerable ones we were talking about the other week, where you're unprotected in your
Yeah.
back, where the
We
where the
fought-
squishy bits are.
Foreshadowed it. We said it here first.
Yeah.
We said if you've got the body, get tackled from behind, and I said you'll be pissing blood for weeks.
And he probably did.
He probably most definitely is with a lacerated kidney.
And there was a spleen concern as well.
They threw in the spleen as
What
well.
is the spleen? Does it
no
do
one
anything?
knows where it
No one
is.
knows.
Everyone says, "Oh, the liver's there, the kidneys
Yeah.
are there, lungs are there." Spleen's just in the mix.
I don't think it even does anything in the mix either. Like the appendix is useless. What does the
What does the spleen do?
Anyone? Any medical professionals in the room? Because I'm stumped.
Because he
What
ruptured.
does the spleen.
We'll find out.
The spleen acts as a
I
filter
think
for
that's
your
the Daily
blood,
Telegraph.
removing old and damaged red blood cells as well as other debris.
That
So he would
sounds-
have been pissing blood. then.
That sounds kidney-ish as well. So he's really damaged the blood
He's done
filters.
a bit of everything.
Yeah. So
and especially concerning, given you had to stay in Perth for an extra couple of days to have the damage assessed
Full
and treated. I worry for the boy. I worry he's been playing above his weight for too long. Is this all of his chickens coming home to roost?
God, I hope not. I know they very quickly wrote him off to say that he's probably not going to be back for the rest of the season.
I hate that.
I hate that.
Don't like that.
so much.
As soon as we start the countdown to Ken, he just explodes. All of his organs are done.
Lacerated is such a visceral word.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
And then also...
It's almost like an onomatopoeia, like lacerate.
Lacerate, yeah. So you can sort of see it. It's sort of if he climbed inside the body. But we hope that he is like your magic school bus
He's the
goes.
best, that's what he is.
Didn't they always
Yeah.
used to go in the body?
Yeah.
Although they did
Do you
at least
think
once.
do you think the parents had to fill out a permission slip for every journey into a body that the magic school bus went on?
It's like we're going into a man's penis. We're saying it was all educational.
Do you give your permission for your child to be shrunk down and have the mating process of salmon laid out in front of them?
That's right. They did the salmon. They did the reproduction.
Can you
of
imagine the
salmon.
parents just taking, all right, they're going to watch some salmon root.
Yeah.
They're going to be tiny and they're going to be with weird Mrs. Frizzle. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Jizzed all over by salmon, yeah. Fertilised, yeah. And also, they used to go
We're
to
joining our musical guest next week, the band Jizzed All Over by Salmon.
the full band, the quartet. we really wish Fletcher Sharp a speedy recovery with a horrific injury.
And do you think he was just finding his place as a 5/8 in the Newcastle Knights rugby league team? It seemed like he
felt like
was.
he is. It felt like he felt really comfortable there.
He was finding his style of 5/8ness. Obviously, a different 5/8. It felt like he was really starting to warm to that role.
Shaped
he was
it.
kicking the ball a little bit, which
little
is
bit.
good.
Yeah.
And now that's all ruined.
It's all
and we
ruined.
have to go back on the Knights halves merry-go-round
That's
again.
right. We go around and round once more.
Our thoughts with Fletcher and his various organs.
Yes, they all can all make a full recovery. I suppose that's why you give you 2 kidneys. Only 1 spleen, but 2
Yeah.
kidneys. Yeah.
Why do they put 2 kidneys in there? You only need one.
I don't know.
You've got a backup. It's handy.
Why do
Good
we
to
have 1 big lung? Why do we have 2? I don't know.
Why are we
See,
as wide
these-
as we are? We could just be
these-
split straight down the middle.
These are the hard questions that the shills and muckrakers in the mainstream media won't ask. These are the big questions.
Why not? Now, of course, let me have to a bit of better news for the Newcastle Knights. So,
Yeah.
of course, with Mrs. Brown's butter chicken.
Mrs. Brown, butter chicken. Mrs. Brown, butter chicken.
Of course, the recruitment drive is still with Mrs. Brown, the wife of Nathan Brown.
Well, she did so well
Yeah.
when she was first catapulted into the role with her famous butter chicken.
It was the
Yeah.
stop off there. You toured the town. You said this is Newcastle. You toured the club. Everyone said, oh, they've toured the club. They found the facilities. But then, of course, you go home to Mr. and Mrs. Brown for delicious butter chicken. Succulent butter chicken.
If you were being courted by a sporting club that maybe wanted to sign you,
Yep.
what curry would you like to be offered? Would you go butter chicken, or is there another option you'd prefer?
Yeah, look, maybe a korma. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I love
Rogan
a korma.
Josh, if you
I
will.
love a lamb Rogan Josh.
Yeah.
One of my favourite things about Rogan Josh is that one of the funniest things in the world is just randomly yelling the names of 90s Melbourne Cup winners.
Yes.
So names like Rogan Josh, Dory Amos, Might and Power. Just in the street. If you're in the shopping centre,
Yeah.
just start yelling out the names of 90s Melbourne Cup winners. Like Dory Amos.
Yeah, yeah.
Might and Power, Rogan Josh.
You'll
You
get a-
just start yelling those words and everyone will look around and goes, that guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
That was some of the best.
Worst case scenario, you get a free lift home by
Yeah.
some very,
Like,
very friendly paramedics.
If you're a pretender,
Yeah.
you might mention Mackay Diva, but
easy. Low-hanging fruit.
Low-hanging fruit. Dory Amos, Might and Power, Rogan Josh.
What was the other one
Brilliant.
that won it 3 times?
Baron's
Black,
Tilt.
Was it
Black Caviar? Did you say Baron's Tit?
Yeah, I made that up. Baron's Tilt, I think.
Baron's
Baron's
Tilt? Yeah, it's all. You can throw a few in there and see
Yeah.
who's the real Melbourne Cup
That's
followers.
it. You can just name 2 unrelated words
Yeah.
and tell people they won the Melbourne Cup. Like,
Yeah.
of course.
Timber Shrew.
Timber Shrew. Love Timber Shrew. Yeah, I put a 20.
What?
I put a 20 on it at 14-1.
Yeah.
It
There comes
paid for my-
Cashmere's wallet. On the outside.
Steaming home. And of course, there's the Pirates of Penzance.
Yes.
Which reminds me of John English. Just makes you sad because he's dead.
John English?
He was an
Was
old
he
horse.
one of the Pirates
He won
of-
Melbourne Cup.
No, he was in. He was one of those weird sort of musical artists that everyone was like. He had a few songs,
Right.
But then he was, Altogether now.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
Hollywood 7, I think, is.
He was kind of like Australia's Alice Cooper, except he.
Yeah, but a bit
just
lighter.
never really just kind of.
I didn't
started-
realize he died.
Yeah, he's gone. 2017.
See, I don't know most songs, so this is all going
Well,
right
they
over my
weren't.
head.
They're not massive sort of.
That
like
means I know them
staples.
even less.
But
then.
Well, he was.
Oh, I like that one.
He was
That's a
in
good
Jesus
one.
Christ Superstar, like stage production. That's how he was discovered. But then he was also in Pirates of Penzance.
So he's a blasphemer, is what you're saying.
Yeah, which because I think he did play Judas. Like anyway, and then he was in Pirates of Penzance as the dancing pirate, the main one, and then it was on like an ABC record thing. It was sort of one of those ones that would always be available in the library to hire.
Always in the library. Yeah.
Or they'd put it on a rainy day if it was.
They wheel the big telly in at school.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the
Pirates-
large frame.
Yeah. Rest in peace. But
Where were we? Oh, yes. Mr.
recruitment.
Brown's butter chicken.
Butter
Yeah.
chicken, of course. Lachlan Crouch, a player that I wasn't really familiar with.
Crouchy. Do
Yeah.
you know about Crouchy?
From Maitland.
Come on.
Boy-
Maitland's finest.
Maitland's finest.
We're bringing the boys home all of a sudden, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I like the signing. Get into
That's
the
right.
pickers. Get into ferment away there for the pickers in the real NRL. I like this signing.
Yeah.
Obviously, with Leo Thompson going, we're going to be down a big man.
Yep.
And as we have seen while Leo Thompson's been out this year, the forwards are very, very light on.
yeah, very
now,
thin.
this is a fellow who's far from that. He's about 6'2",
Yeah.
106.
Yeah.
Being from Maitland, he's got farm strength. He's got that farm boy
I reckon
strength.
he's 6'3". I reckon, yeah, he's 6'3".
Potentially.
191, yeah.
Yes.
183 is 6 foot.
Yeah. So he's
Either
got
way, it's a lot.
a
He's a big
bunch.
fella. I think
Yeah.
he was slated to maybe debut for the Sharks a few weeks ago. It didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
But he's just a boy still at 22. I think, feedback on him has been good. Absolutely what the Knights need. We need big friggin' middles desperately. And so I think this will be a good way to shore up middle a bit.
Conspiracy theory, Liam.
Love 'em.
We've not been managing to sign some big names.
Little names.
And so we've signed a little name. However, he's from the area.
Yeah.
So that makes people go, well, I haven't heard of him. But he's
he's good.
from the area, so
Means
he
he's great.
must be good. And he's left the area, so someone else must have thought he's pretty good as well.
That's it. So he got a bit of time in the big city.
Yeah.
He did what we all do. We did our time in the big city. We
That's
came
right.
back ravaged, broken, and alone.
Sowed
and we
our-
reinvented ourselves.
Sowed our seeds, is what you do.
Sowed our seeds.
in the big city.
And then you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
And they have reaped the whirlwind.
Something about roots. And of course, re-signing someone that came onto the scene a matter of weeks ago, finding himself in first grade quite often. Liam, you might have to help me with the pronunciation correctly.
Yeah, Elijah Salesa Laumoana. I think I'm getting that right, Elijah. I think he's shown in his few first grade starts. He's a goer.
Go get him.
Guy
Yeah.
just goes nuts. He goes and he gets, and I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Someone
A
that's
boom
built,
forward, I think, is a good way to put it.
yeah, someone that's sort of built more like a back row has found himself in the front row, but he really has a lot of get up and go about
He does.
it.
And I think so they've extended him. So next year, 2026, he will be in the 30-man squad. 2027, he will also be in the 30-man squad with the big boys. And again, given that the forwards were the area where we had a lot of concern,
Yeah.
locking up these good young boys, definitely a good move for the future.
We missed out on Hazelton from the Sharks.
He would have been great. I love Tom
big-
Hazelton.
Big
He's
boy.
fantastic.
He's
He's
a giant,
huge.
yeah. And we also
Love scoring tries, too.
For a while there was talks of signing Matt Lodge every time he's
I remember a
everyone's
few
like,
years
"We're
ago.
Gonna die tonight.
I think we all wrote. There was a petition, perhaps.
Don't touch him, we don't like him.
And God bless the Newcastle Knights because they listen.
Yeah.
the fans spoke and they listened.
They said,
I think I
"Right."
tweeted at them. In fact,
They need some
Yeah.
good press, the Newcastle Knights, and they've stayed away from upsetting their constituents.
because it was right. Yeah, you don't want to upset the constituents
No.
because that was right around the peak era of Matt Lodge booing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm glad the club listened.
And also, Matt Lodge made a terrible decision to leave Manly
Hmm.
because he thought he had a contract, I think, with Souths. But then they
Oh.
were like, Wayne Bennett's like, no, you're not coming here. And then he had to go all the way back and he found himself at Manly for less money than Manly was offering him originally.
A real masterclass
Yeah.
in business.
Yeah. But he also went over to the Warriors on some massive $700,000
Yeah, he was on,
contract or something.
at one point.
like
I
that.
think he was one of the top 3 highest paid props in the league.
Yeah, it's sort of from yesteryear with the big man. You have to have a big guy. Now
Yeah.
it's much smaller men.
That's it.
you
He
gotta
felt
have
like he was a prop from a different era. Thank
Yeah.
goodness the Knights didn't. Speaking of props from a different era, Naggy,
Aaron Woods. has
would
been-
Aaron Wood survive in the modern game?
I don't think so. I don't think he will. He's barely surviving there as a media man. He's put his neck out there calling Billy Slater a grub.
Which now, let's be straight up here. He's spot on with that.
fine,
Billy Slater.
yeah.
They had to change rules because of Billy Slater's grubbiness.
Yeah, if you watch
There's empirical evidence
Yeah.
that Billy Slater was a grubby player.
the 2008 grand final against Manly, when they
was
lost
that the 40-0?
40-0.
Good. And so they should have.
Watch the highlights there. If you're ever wondering maybe Billy Slater might not be a grub, watch the direction of his studs flying in the direction of anyone planting the ball over the try line.
Everyone planting the ball over the try.
Sometimes seconds late. Like he's just coming in like he's making one of those
Well, that's
leg
it. He'd say,
tackles in
I was
soccer.
just trying to stop the tackle. I was like, yeah, but with your
Your
studs up
towards
in
someone's
the face.
He loves
Yeah.
studs in the face. That was these two
That's
things.
the best place to put them.
He loves having studs and he loves putting it in people's face.
Yeah. And we're not big fans of soccer. I don't think they do a lot right in soccer, but
No.
not studsing people in the face with
No,
your
no.
stud.
Yeah,
I would
studs in the
maybe
leg.
is that
Yeah.
if you can stud someone so if we stud someone in the leg,
Yeah.
is that in the spirit of the game?
I'm not sure. Sam, we got a soccer person over here.
No, it's not in the spirit of the game.
Not in the spirit of the
if you
game.
stud someone in the face, definitely not in the spirit of the game.
No.
So I think Aaron Woods was pretty spot on there, but
But he's been called a coward.
he has been. That's, the reason it's popped up again, this saga has been ongoing for weeks. And
Yeah.
the reason it's popped up again is that Ryan Hoffman, famously his former teammate with the
Yeah.
New South Wales Blues, has
The
said,
call was coming from inside the house all
It
along.
was,
His very own teammate is called out. He's sided with Billy Slater being his teammate at the Melbourne Storm.
that's it. It's an interesting, I guess,
Dichotomy, if you will.
dichotomy of where his loyalties lie.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can understand that. Obviously, playing club footy with Billy Slater for so long, he would have seen him a lot more.
Yeah, we'll hang
Aaron
out.
Woods, he maybe sees him, for a month each year for 3 years.
Couple
and
there.
That's about it.
And he's
they never
got-
won anything, so there wasn't much celebrating going on.
Yeah.
So he's come out and he's labelled Aaron Woods a coward.
Is it cowardly though? He's just because I think if anything, you go on a microphone and you say things, you
Yeah.
publish it, if you will.
That's
and you
literally
put your
his
neck
job.
out there.
That's what he's paid to do.
And he's made a statement that he knew to get some backlash from.
Yeah.
Is that cowardly?
I think it's not cowardly at
No,
all, and I
it's-
think the actions that followed up from the State of Origin bet with Aaron Woods proves that he is not a coward.
He didn't
because
run away from Billy Slater. Oh.
exposing your penis
Yeah.
on live television on the
course.
Today Show,
Yeah, yeah.
right there in the morning. That's a brave man on
Yeah.
a winter's day in the ocean.
Aaron Woods, of course.
Your cock's never going to be smaller than that.
No.
Winter's day in the ocean, right at the break of dawn.
Yeah.
Maybe he had a little tickle to get a bit of blood flow in it before he did. But that is the actions of a brave man,
Brave man.
putting himself out there,
Bearing it all.
Was that maybe a reaction to being called a coward?
Yeah, I
maybe
don't
was
know.
that him saying, "Look here, Hoffy,
Call this
look here."
cowardly.
Yeah, call this cowardly.
Have a look at it.
Yeah,
Stare at it, Hoppy.
it's like in a Clockwork Orange. Hold it up, stare at it. He's got Ryan Hoffman watching the Today Show with his eyelids pried open.
Look at my penis.
So I think Aaron Woods and
This is because of a bet that Aaron Woods
Oh,
had
the bet, yeah,
with
sorry.
the fellow that
he
Carl-
wasn't just
Carl
getting
Silverberg.
naked on morning television for no reason.
the
There was a
fun of
good
it, no.
reason.
Yeah.
For it. Getting naked on morning television with good reason is definitely within the spirit of rugby league.
It doesn't seem. I think he's just picked a name and gone, "Oh, coward, why not?" Really, he could just say, "I don't like what he said. I disagree
Yeah.
with it. He's a wanker." He could have said all these different things.
Coward is definitely not the right word to
Coward's
describe what Aaron Woods said in his capacity as a media person who is paid to say things to generate clicks.
Coward is worse than grub, right? So,
Coward, I think, is a step up from grub.
See, because that's the weirdest thing. Like, grub is not, I guess, the harrowing insult that some people think it is.
It's fine.
I think the fact that Billy Slater reacted so viscerally proves that he is a grub. Like,
Yeah.
if someone calls you a grub, you just say,
Yeah.
no, I'm not, but that's funny.
can't
But if
retort.
someone calls you a grub and you are a grub,
Yeah.
you strike back, you lash out, and you say, no, I'm no grub.
And if
I'm no grub.
And if someone calls you a coward, you drop your pants and say, "Look at it. Have a look at this."
Exactly. So I think Aaron Woods has come out well ahead here. I think Aaron Woods really comes out looking like the hero of the piece.
Yes, that's right.
Because it's not a good rig.
They even got a big
Let's face it.
spotlight out there to him in the ocean. Good Lord. Well, I suppose he had to come in eventually. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
why did he turn around? Well, he had to, unless he walked out backwards.
Well, he's going to end up in New
Cowardly.
Zealand.
Cowardly. Now, there's been some dramas with the South Sydney Rabbitohs and the SCG Trust about South Sydney returning to Allianz Stadium. And
Yes.
that's basically they said, no, you can't do this. Is this what you're taking from this, Liam?
Well, so the SCG Trust actually pushed to have the Rabbitohs back at Allianz.
Yeah,
and there
okay.
was a politician who said no. Now, if we could just duck back and get that cowardly politician's name, it was...
Blake
I really should have read that.
Oh, that's
no,
sorry,
he's
that's
South
Rabbitohs. Yeah.
Rabbitohs. New South Wales Minister for Sport Steve Camper wrote to Rabbitohs boss Blake Solly on Tuesday with his decision to reject the club's bid to join arch rivals Sydney Roosters at the $860 million stadium in Moore Park. Now this, Naggy, to me,
Cowardly.
is a cowardly,
Yeah.
an example of a cowardly politician who is incredibly out of touch
Yeah.
with what the people want.
That's right.
The people don't want to go to Homebush on a Saturday night when there's 17 people there in
No.
an 80,000 seat stadium. It's really hard to get there. There's nothing nearby.
That's right.
But they're getting their money.
Money.
It's
Filthy
all
money.
about the money.
The hand thing
Wouldn't
means
you
the
much
money.
prefer to watch South Sydney, if you are of that, predilection, a South Sydney fan? Wouldn't you much prefer them to play in an accessible stadium? It's
Yeah.
easy to get to. It's in the centre of Sydney.
they're from
Even if
Redfern, right in the
They're
middle.
from Redfern, right there. They're not from Homebush.
No.
There was nothing in Homebush 25 years ago.
Nothing
there was
there at
nothing
all.
there.
It was a swamp.
You'd much rather see them and in a stadium where even 15,000 fans still looks and sounds pretty good. Is out of touch politicians ruining rugby league, Naggy?
I think so, and I think they're all cowards. I think Blake Solly should drop his trow and show them who's boss.
Steve Camper.
Steve
Camper's
Camper.
got
No,
it,
yeah, but I think Blake Solly from South Sydney should really just stamp his authority and say, hey, have a geese. Maybe all of the South Sydney players, supporters, everyone, drop trowel in solidarity. To say,
Okay,
I like that.
so are we talking? What year was the famous rally to bring the Rabbitohs back?
2002, I
Are we
think it
saying
was, yeah.
do that again, but with your trousers on?
Trousers down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do we want them to do it with trousers around the ankles so they kind of have to shuffle along,
forward.
or just no trousers, unencumbered by pants?
I think if anyone
Yeah.
wants to see it, they want to see trousers around the ankles.
all those Souths fans out there, get rid of your pants, chuck them in the fire.
shuffle in solidarity and say we're gonna get our team wherever the hell they want to
It's
play.
like, remember when bloody Jermaine Greer and all those Sheilas burnt their bras and they won?
Yeah,
they won
yeah.
women's liberation.
That's right.
That's what Souths need to do.
Burn your
Except with your
underpants.
trousers.
Yeah. Drop them down, set fire to them, and then shuffle in solidarity.
And of course, we'll have what's his bloody the guy, famous guy, interviewer, big South fan, led the rally at the time, Andrew
And I'm not sure. Was
Andrew
it
Denton.
Denton. Yeah, Denton will be
Ah.
leading from the front there.
Yeah.
Denton!
Denton!
Yeah, Denton. Massive penis.
Denton!
Famously.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, Andrew
but yeah.
Denton's got a hog.
But everyone loves South. Everyone South is everyone's second team. you
Well,
know?
that's because for our generation, Souths were everyone's second favourite team because they were shit.
They were shit, yeah,
So
they
you
were,
never
yeah.
had to worry about them beating your team.
That's right.
And they had a lot of players who went there for their careers to
Yeah,
die. Like
yeah.
Shannon Hegarty was a great example. I think he was an Origin and Test player.
Yeah.
Went there, never did anything ever
No,
again.
no, he
was the
struggled.
tail end of Brian Fletcher's career. Went there.
That's right.
Brave
Made him-
Canasta.
Brayton Nasta.
Both in NASA went to South?
Did he?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
God.
I can't remember that at all. He
I,
would've
remember, I have a
Ugh.
vivid memory of him standing behind the
he
uprights
start-
as
didn't
they're
he s-
losing by like 40 points.
I had a
thought he
vivid memory of
started
him
at
getting
South.
punched by
No,
David
I
Farlonger.
know.
That was great. No, he started at Dogs for me.
I can't
Came in
remember.
through the
Brave
doors.
Dogs everywhere.
I'm gonna check my
What an
photos.
annoying person he is.
David Peachy played the back end of his
Peachy,
career.
yeah.
Reece Wesser as well. It was one of those times, I remember in 2004, South was playing Brisbane, and Brisbane was tracking quite well. South
As
was
Brisbane did in the early 2000s.
No idea, sorry boys.
so we got bump steer from Sam that he's never played for South. Brayton Astor was never there.
But he does strike you as the kind of player who would have. He would have. So I
Craig
can
Wing,
see-
another player that went to South.
Well, he
his
started
career
there.
died.
He was a South
He started
junior,
and
yeah.
finished, and then hurt his shoulder or something like
Then
that.
played for the Japanese International Rugby Union
That's right.
team.
Yeah, everyone, that's nice. Anyway, so there was when the Broncos were playing South, it's just a regular season game. It was a draw, and
What?
the Borough went absolutely bananas. It was like they won the grand final. This was 10 years before they won the grand
Yeah.
final, but they were so desperate for anything, and they go, "Hey, this isn't a loss," and then they cheered, and then they
Well,
hit
we
the
know that
streets.
feeling. Well, remember the 2016 night season where there was the draw against Canberra?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I was watching it at the Cricketers' Arms. The whole front bar, wow, man, it was
Went
unreal.
crazy. We
It
nearly
was
beat Canberra
scenes
that
like
year
we'd never
as well.
seen.
And there was that.
Yeah, it was the one. Wasn't the one draw against Canberra one almost win?
almost win. Yeah, we were
And
leading
beat the
20-0.
Tigers.
Yeah, it was a bad draw.
Yeah,
It
it
was a bad draw,
wasn't.
Was that
bad
the
at all.
Brock Lamb shank? kick?
No, that was
the
against the Dogs. Yeah, that
of
was
course,
it.
the lamb shank.
Not good. Not
Bring
good.
him back to Allianz, Camper, you coward.
You coward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they bother with. Look, club games at Homebush, it's fine if it's a big rivalry and there's going to be 50,000 people there.
Yeah.
The game where the Bulldogs Rabbitohs is a great example. What was that?
Fantastic.
Good Friday, Bad Monday,
Yeah,
terrible
something
Tuesday?
like
One of
that.
them.
One of
Anyway,
those, yeah.
games like that, absolutely have them there. They'll sell 65,000 tickets.
Yeah.
But, just a regular mid-season game, Rabbitohs versus the Titans at Homebush, there's just nothing going on.
The broadsheet,
Nothing there.
the broadsheets are talking about a Channel 9 banking on the NRL-led revival, Liam. Can you walk us through this story?
Well, I think they're relying on the Anna. I didn't read the story.
Well, it's very, very, very fine print. It's a broadsheet,
Well,
so it's very, very
It's a
hard
lot
to take it
look
all
at.
in. Yeah.
The broadsheets
What's
are
the
dead.
vibe of the story?
Well, the vibe of the story that I got, because they're shills. I don't want to read the
No,
word
no,
shills.
you're not paying the
I'm not-
subscription.
No, of course not. Basically, from what I did in my glossing over, it seems like Nine are relying heavily on the NRL to revive the rotting carcass of them former media empire.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they want the NRL to be the flagship product, the great piece that they're going to do. Now, this raises a couple of questions, right?
Does, a lot of questions, yeah.
Why are we still calling Channel 9 the home of rugby league when they broadcast 2 games per week?
3 now.
Three-
But it was, for a
Still,
while there, it was...
they didn't even remember in the old days.
Yeah.
Friday night games on delay after Burke's backyard, and they say we're the home of rugby league.
And Sunday
I don't
on
know
delay.
that there's ever been a Sunday was on delay too.
Yeah.
I don't know there's ever been a broadcaster who's claimed so willy-nilly to
Yeah.
be something that they're not.
Yeah, it was like, come watch the ads, watch the game on delay.
Yeah.
The radio's basically free.
Yeah,
Flick it on.
exactly.
That's a live game.
ABC Grandstand, home of rugby league, as far as
That's
I'm
what it
concerned.
should have been.
Andrew Moore, Luke Lewis, Matt Elliott.
I do
great,
like that,
great
yeah.
commentating team, fantastic. But I think again that there's the Channel 9's a husk.
It's often-
what it used to be, and they're really banking on the NRL. And I think they're looking at maybe putting some of it on Stan.
It's because it's got like to make a television show is a lot of money.
I saw the word Stan in the article, so
That's probably
kind of
right.
piecing it together.
It costs a lot of money to make any sort of television show because you got to get all the things and pieces
money.
together, and then you got to
It's
write
money.
the show money, and then film it, and then you got the actors, of course.
Yeah.
And then they thought, hang on, reality TV, it's
free.
much cheaper. We just get these
People pay to be on it.
That's right. They're not actors, and so we just we destroy their characters one by one. But then live sport is when they go, hang on a second, this is like a reality TV. But everyone already knows what's going on. You tune in, you've got all your main stars there. Channel 9's not paying them. The club's paying them, so they just flick it on, you watch it happen. It's reality TV in bite sizes.
But every year, Naggy, and every year we're forced to watch 4 games on Channel 9, State of Origin 1, State of Origin 2, State of Origin 3, the NRL Grand Final. And every year I'm reminded why I hate watching rugby league on 9. Matt Thompson is a commentator. I'm sure he's a lovely bloke. I don't know the fella from Bar of Soap.
Yeah.
Bad commentator.
Bad commentator.
So many of the people they employ to talk about rugby league suck at talking about rugby league.
Yeah.
But let's face it, Fox League these days isn't much better.
No.
Just watch the Joust. Fuck every other rugby league show. Now, again, I mentioned I didn't really read the article, but I did want to put it in there because I think this may be the start of something that I'm really not looking forward to, which is the fracturing of the NRL's broadcasting rights.
Yeah.
Now, Volandis even spoke it might have been this season, maybe last season, about how there's sort of discussions about offering rights for different games to different streaming servers, how it'll diversify, and it will allow, a larger audience to accompany it.
Smaller audience.
So bad.
Yeah,
In North American sports, you're seeing it. I saw someone did the maths the other day. If you wanted to watch every NFL game, you'd have to spend $5,000 on 5 different streams, spread across 5 different streaming services. I saw it trying to watch the NHL the last few years.
Yeah.
Some of the games are on TSN, some are on Sportsnet, some are on Amazon. They started putting the NFL on Netflix now as well. So the fracturing of the broadcasting in North American sports especially has been an absolute nightmare.
This is exactly how Soviet Russia started. I tell you what they said. And what happened to that? Collapse.
Yeah. No, it was the opposite because Soviet Russia said,
want everyone,
all the football on one channel. Yeah. It's reverse socialism.
It's exactly how Mussolini started there in Italy. He made the trains run on time and he made you pay to watch the sport.
Oh, I hated him.
2 pillars.
Yeah, that's it. Everything else he was spot on. But yeah, so I mostly put that article in there as a jumping off point because I didn't want to read about Channel 9.
Speaking of,
because it ain't great.
2 things, of course, we've got the Perth Bears. The Perth Bears. The Perth Bears, Liam, is
a wonderful franchise.
It's going to be a wonderful franchise. I think everyone's looking forward to it. But then they also say PNG is on the way. It's going to be.
That's the other thing. The PNG talk went quiet while the Bears thing was ramping up, but it seems to have come back with a vengeance here with Mr. Sneaky Pete talking about it. What are your thoughts on this one?
The Rugby League Czar has assured
Speaking of Russian aristocracy.
The Tsar himself has assured PNG Prime Minister that, which is a strange thing to do, talking about sport to the Prime Minister. Usually there's a bit of separation there. But he said...
he's got the hotline straight to James Marape.
To the top. Now, the PNG over there, Papua New Guinea, they love rugby league and they're very excited about having...
And rightly so, it's a great game.
They got a team in Queensland Cup and everything seems to be going okay. But they said they can assure them in 2028 that they will make the top 8. Now, that doesn't seem like something that's going to be possible without some fixing.
In my absence, there was a lot of talk about the fix. Is this the fix?
The fix.
We talked about the fix, but is this the fix, Naggy?
Yeah. It also, to sell this as an idea, because he said, well, the player's going to have to live over there in Papua New Guinea, and I don't know if you've been to Port Moresby, but it's no holiday. No. And it's not.
But
exactly
he's saying it is absolutely a holiday.
They
in fact,
said exactly what
holiday.
it is. Actually, it's going to be a permanent island holiday over there. They said it's going to be wonderful. They said the players and their wives. I think they should
very
also
optimistic thinking that.
That the players are going to
and their life partners.
Their
maybe
life
a bit
partners.
more inclusive. See, rugby league is no good at inclusivity.
No.
Vlandis, he should have said players and their wives and their male partners if they prefer.
They're good
anything
mates.
in between.
They're good mates.
Their buddies, their mistresses.
Yeah, their postmen. Bring everyone. And they're going to live over there in a resort-style accommodation, which apparently they're going to build, which does make it seem like they're going to be in a...
Sounds a lot better than compound, which I think
the compound's going to be the word that's going to
discussion.
be used. It was like, so no one can get in? Can you get out freely? Oh, not really. And it's like, it sounds like you're in a rugby league holiday-style prison.
Like a reality show as well.
That's
Exactly,
right.
yes.
Fire the cameras up, everyone. We got a brand new show, Channel 9. P&G, will they make it out? We don't know. Peter Volandis and Andrew Abdo, who's not from here.
No, not probably neither of them.
He's from South Africa. It's all right. It's xenophobic.
Prime Minister.
That's right.
Yeah, it's fine.
So,
It's fine.
they're messing with the game so much, and they're including these teams.
Yeah.
Remember when there used to be 20 teams back in
It was
about
terrible.
1998?
Yeah, because then they brought it back together. It was terrible.
They
Not
said
20 teams is too many.
too many.
And none of them were a permanent holiday location. They were in
That's right.
shitholes like Adelaide. And bloody South Queensland, wherever the hell that is. I don't know about that.
G'day to the city of churches and
now,
hello.
Naggy, do you think sort of the comparison between Peter Volandis and the Tsar is maybe a bit deeper than we think? Of course, the Tsar Nicholas II, who led to the downfall of the Russian Empire, was famously very insular. He was
Yes.
incredibly out of touch with the public. He was a rich toff.
Yeah.
Do you think we're seeing the downfall of Peter Volandis and likewise the Rugby League Federation?
He's certainly putting his career on the line with this move, Liam. And I remember they spoke about Tsar Nicholas, and they said the two most important people in Russia at the time was the lady Tsar.
Yes, the ladies are.
and,
The Tsarina.
the Tsarina, and anyone that had recently spoken to Tsar Nicholas. And they were the two most powerful people. And I have this feeling maybe some different people are
Which
getting
one of those do you see as Volandis?
Well,
You got
I think-
Abdo as Rasputin whispering into his ear.
whispering,
I've
sweet
got a
nothing.
huge cock and do magic. I think that was
Classic. Yeah. Nice.
that's just
famous
like
quote.
something Abdo would say.
Say what you will about Abdo.
Yeah.
Not a coward.
But I'm still so, I don't know, I'm still so undecided on the Papua New Guinea thing. Because there's also talks, of course, you go play there, you won't pay any taxes.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem legal.
No.
That ain't right. How are they going to do it? No taxes. No taxes. You're on a
Compound.
permanent holiday in a all expenses paid resort. You can apparently, according to this article, bring any woman you want with you. Who wouldn't want to play
They
there?
can't leave, apparently, yeah. With you, or your mate, your good mate that you sleep with, anything that you wanted to over there. It sounds
Guaranteed top eight.
like guaranteed top 8. A finals berth.
What a silly
What's
thing to
happened to
happen.
this wonderful game of rugby league has been torn to
Politics
pieces.
and money.
Money. It's all
Politics
about the
and money. It's all about the money.
Maybe the Australian dollar's really strong over there. You can
Could be.
live like, I don't want to say live like a king, but you may potentially
Probably do.
Probably do
Yeah.
over there. It's a lot of money to them. I'm not sure what the next news, but we might.
Oh, that was it. Okay.
Thank God for that. We're going to take a break and we'll be back for the second half of the Joust place. To that second half, Mr. Crocodile Jones.
P&G and in the sun, playing footy and having fun. And Peter says it's fine, we're guaranteed top 8. Hint, hint. We beat the Dolphins twice.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Now, of course, Liam, it'd be remiss
Yes,
of me
it would. And it would be a miss of you as well.
and a miss if we didn't
Swing and a miss.
There was a game last week against the Dolphins. Now, going into this game, you have to remember that the Dolphins were
They were on
piled-
fire. They scored 50 plus twice, 40 plus once.
Yeah.
They were the
I don't-
the best attacking team in the NRL for about 3 weeks.
They were.
Until they weren't.
until they weren't. Now, I did have a feeling because it wasn't up there in Redcliffe or at home where we.
It was kind of nowhere. It
was
a
nowhere.
bit of a nowhere game. It's just
Well,
like, where's this game happening?
Perth.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
It
matter.
was over there.
Forget about it.
They said, we had the game in Perth for Origin.
Well,
They
it's
said-
easier to get to than Homebush.
Yeah, that's right. They said, we got another one.
Yeah.
We've got another game in Perth, and it's Newcastle Knights and Redcliffe Golf.
But I
Dolphins.
really look. We're going to touch on hats off later on. But I really want to give my hats off to whoever wrote the match report. It would have been so easy for them to write ground conditions good, weather fine. Not this week.
No.
Ground conditions good, weather light rain.
Light rain.
Light
Yeah,
rain.
that's right, yeah. Those
They really earned their
It's more
money.
accurate in Perth,
the
I think.
match
More
reporter
accurate in
there.
Perth, yeah.
10,000 people there to see the game.
Felt like more, to be fair. It did feel like more than 10,000. So that stadium, I think, does well to sort of hold less people but looking good.
That's
know?
what you want.
Yeah,
That's
what you
basically,
want.
welcome to the NRL. But if your stadium can sort of look like it's got a lot of people, you've done half the job.
Exactly.
So over there at H.
The NRL is all about the
BF.
illusion of success, the illusion of thrivingness.
It's what happens when you give a game in its really infancy to a sport,
town that's in its infancy.
a town that's in its infancy, or
As a country, really, we are in our infancy.
yeah, if you give the sport that is in its infancy hundreds of millions of dollars and say, this is broadcast rights, they look fantastic, and they go, great, what are we going to do with it? We'll make it look polished. But the crux of the game is really it's fractured and it doesn't really make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
But over there,
It's a fractured crux.
we went over there with the
musical guest next week, Mr. Fractured Crux.
crust with patchy form, I guess you could say, with the nice win over Manly. Then we
If our form's been patchy, then I don't want to see the pair of jeans that you put the patch on there. It's just all air.
all patches.
It's got the seam still.
Yeah.
There's one pocket still dangling. The
Yeah.
other one's got a hole bigger than the pocket itself.
That's right.
I think patchy's an understatement.
We were struggling, and I don't think we could. We thought that we could beat the Dolphins if the Dolphins were going to put on.
We didn't think we could, but we believed we could.
Now,
There's the difference.
When we were at the game against the Roosters,
a disappointing evening.
It was a disappointing evening.
On the scoreboard, in terms of friendship, wonderfully.
Wonderful friendship. But we thought that we looked like a slow team out there. We looked like we didn't have a lot of strike. We didn't have any bullets. We didn't even have a gun. We were throwing rocks. And we thought, where's the strikes, where the tries coming from? We're not sure.
Who would have thought Bradman best?
Fast
That's
forward
all
a
we
week.
needed.
We went from a slow side and we introduced Fletcher Sharp, Bradman Best, Dom Young.
I've
into
always
the
loved
team.
Dom Young.
Yeah.
I've always said it. I love
yeah.
him. I never stopped. Welcome back, Dom. Doesn't he look so good in bloody the red, white, and blue of the Newcastle Knights?
That's right.
Isn't it funny? He goes from looking so shit in red, white, and blue
yeah.
to looking incredible and world-beating in red, white, and
It's a
blue.
shit blue, the Roosters blue, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
I
not
think
good.
Yeah,
good
shit
term.
blue. I think it's actually
dark.
his name. I think it's actually his name.
It's shit blue. You look
Shit
it up.
blue, yeah.
When you think, I want to paint my house blue, and they go,
But I want a shit blue.
Shit blue, Roosters? And you say, no, I want a good blue. And they go, the
Newcastle Knights blue, of course. Yeah.
So introducing some speed back into the team in those players that are
Speed and
aforementioned.
power. That was
Yeah.
the other thing we were sort of lacking was power.
Yeah. Beating the one-on-one tackles and looking like that we could do it. Tyson Frizzell went back into the front row. We really missed him against the Roosters, and still without like our regular front row and Jacob Saifidi.
That's it. Still really with only one recognised prop.
Yeah, Matt Crockett still there, struggling there, probably about 96 kilo. Never
He's
really
doing his best.
Yeah. But then we look like, hang on a second, Kalen Ponga also, our fearless leader, our brother, our captain, our king, coming back into the team. We went from a slow side to a fast side. And
The drop of a hat.
all of a sudden, Fletcher Sharp goes over for the first try against the Dolphins. And then I know I was watching it at my local there at the Kingcumber Hotel.
Very, very good pub, that.
And it's definitely a pub. And I was sort of and I thought we're not in a shot. Hang on, Fletcher's gone over. We're looking pretty good. There was a few chances early on, and I'm thinking we might be in this. Cody Nikarima, who always has a pretty good game against us,
does, doesn't he?
unfortunately,
That's disgusting, man.
and he goes over for a try. It gets locked up, and but then all of a sudden we welcome back our fearless centre, Bradman Best, our Origin 3 specialist.
Isn't he just, and we'll talk about it more in Hats Off, but isn't it such a Bradman Best tradition to come back just before Origin 3 and be the best centre in the world?
He loves
I
Origin
love it.
3.
It's great.
Yeah, he said Origin 1, not for me.
No.
Origin 2,
Don't bother.
Don't bother.
Give me a call when you're down or when we're tied at 1.
Yeah.
Put me in and I'll
Put me
win
in.
the bastard.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And didn't he look the goods? And he spent so much time out of the team, and I don't think he's played much at all with Dylan Lucas this year.
No, he wouldn't have.
And
But
that-
what a left edge, though. Dylan Lucas, bloody Bradman Best, and then Greg Marju when he comes back. All of a
Thick.
sudden, you're staring down the barrel of A, the thickest left edge in rugby league,
That's right.
and B, the best.
The best.
The best
Yeah,
left edge.
The Bradman.
Oh,
And
should we go straight into headwear, Naggy? Because I want to talk about this fella.
well, yeah, if we're going to be talking about players that we thought did excellent, we have to talk about headwear, and that's the segment we have to call Hats Off.
Hats off. Hats off. Hats off.
Naggy, I'd like to put a question to you. If Bradman Best
gone
did not
crazy.
have the checkered injury past that he has, if Bradman Best had been fully fit for every season of his career, let's say, Would he be the best centre of his generation?
I think so.
Better than Crichton.
Yeah.
Better
I
than
think it's
Latrell.
better than Christ. I thought
Better
you were
than
gonna
Laurie
say.
Daly.
Yeah.
Better than Mick Cronin.
Yeah.
Better than
All the
a Steve Bloody Rogers, the Prince of centres.
Yes.
Would Bradman Best be the best centre of all time if he'd played all the games that he was available to feature in?
Easily. The fact that we've got such a premier centre that's
The premier centre.
the premier centre that just seems to be getting better. He's only 23 years old.
He's been around for so long. That's ludicrous. But I mean,
Yeah.
the stats line's ridiculous. 2 tries, a try assist, 193 metres, 68 post-contact metres, 5 tackle busts, 2 line break assists.
Yeah.
Fair to say, pretty quiet return from injury for Bradman.
Yeah.
I think. Would that be fair to say?
Didn't get out of third gear. And to complement that, I can't go past how good Bradman Best was and is.
But we must.
If only he doesn't have the bad ankles and the bad hamstrings. He doesn't.
And if only he didn't tuck his ears into his hat when he wears a hat. You ever
Yeah,
notice that?
I don't
It's a very
like
Central
his-
Coast thing. He tucks his ears into his hat.
Well, he's from there. He's from
he
Waterloo.
is.
And I sort of like also the way he dresses. I know it's probably the way that all 23-year-olds are dressing. And maybe I'm just getting old.
I don't know why they dress like they
He's got,
do.
like the open shirt
Oh.
and then the over. It's like a loose overshirt and chains. He wears a lot of
He loves
jewelry.
chains.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
It's
It's
just
fantastic.
It's all. He's a lad. He's audacious. And so welcoming him back to the side and just showing a bit of strike and having Kalen Ponga, who is marvelous, but then,
Fantastic. We adore Caleb. We
but
always have.
having Kalen to actually pass to strike players and players that can upset teams, and what Kalen did is to grab a kick for these players that know what's on and can get the ball right when they need it. And I think when coming up against Bradman Best, the defense has a look at it and says, "Well, I can't take my eyes off the
Yeah.
boy. He's so stunning. No, he's so dangerous," is what they say.
Why is he in his hat? I can't look away.
And so him catching the ball and passing out, they have to jam in because they think he's such a dangerous runner.
But then he's got some of the best like catch and release, quick hands passes
Yeah.
in the league. Like up there with Latrell. You know, you see Latrell do it in Origin. There's very, very few other centers that could get away with that. Bradman Best, one of them. And I still look back and I pinpoint one moment where Bradman Best took his game to the next level. It was in that drawn game against the Panthers,
Yep.
maybe 4 years ago.
Tex
that was
Hoy,
very,
remember
very
him?
early.
Tex, yeah, because remember there was the Knights with very, very little time to go. They went down the left edge. I think Bradman had Edric Lee outside.
Yeah, makes
Catch and pass, just missed the mark ever so much. And you could tell that he went away and he worked so hard on that because he does not miss the mark with that.
Yeah.
I think with James Spiller outside him, he missed
do
a few times,
He
but I
did flick
think it's
pass
'cause-
where Greg
Yeah.
would have been because Greg's
Yeah.
usually hanging back a little bit.
That's it. I think if Greg's there, you probably can put down 2 or 3 more try assists to Bradman Best. Where
Yeah.
Spiller, and again, it's not to speak ill of James Spiller because
Yeah.
I'll do that in a minute.
Yeah.
But you know, Bradman and Greg have such an understanding that I think it's safe to say Greg would be in the right position every time. But
Yeah.
you don't see many good centre battles anymore. But the Bradman Best Herbie Farnworth centre battle
good to
was
watch.
so
Yeah.
good to watch. 2 young tyros,
Yeah.
that are the best at their craft in the game, just going ham on each other.
It was wonderful.
Fantastic.
Absolute ham, pork, the eyes can see. And my
Hats off for you, Naggy.
Yeah, it's to a player that comes from, of course, the great school of unremarkable boys because he's not only the founder, the principal, and he does a lot of teaching there as well.
Graduated cum laude from the... Is that it? Cum laude? Magna cum laude?
I'm not sure.
The Latin
He's
thing.
speaking Latin.
I love
yeah,
her
speak
films.
Latin, it's the good thing. When you...
But Jack Cogger has got a lot of scrutiny this year and saying that is he the halfback that we need? Probably not. We need someone with a little bit more control. Is he the biggest? No, he's not. Is he the fastest? Absolutely not. But I think when we've got the right players available around in the back line, we're seeing more from Jack. We're seeing someone that is still going out there, absolutely trying his best. He's best when he's digging into the line and then passing out. And then what happens after that is where the magic happens. But he's doing the middle bits that are fine. And he had a good game last week against the Roosters. He had a good game against Manly and another good game. It's a surprisingly good game from an unremarkable boys
Are
graduate.
you saying that Jack Cogger is the perfect halves partner for Dylan Brown, Nag? Is that what you're telling me?
Potentially.
Okay. Is he the half who can finally unlock Dylan Brown in ways that New South Wales and Australian and the Lebanese representative Mitch Moses never could?
Yeah, we might be stretching a little bit, but yeah, well, look, hell, why not?
Come on, man. We have to find some positives about that goddamn signing. Please. Just let me go with it.
It might be the half that maybe that we don't need, but it's the halves that we have, and he's certainly.
But I think in the way that rugby league is, there's so few elite halves.
Yeah.
I think if you can find a half who is the half that you have,
Yeah.
maybe not the half that you need, but having a half who is the half that you have in rugby league is pretty good.
Yeah, you want
Because you
lamb.
got some other sides who have like Kyle Flanagan.
Yeah. You want lamb, you got mutton. Enjoy the mutton. That's what I say. Dig in.
Yeah, good. Thanks for mutton.
So Jack Cogger, I think
Have you ever eaten mutton?
had a swell game. I have a feeling.
Why don't they just call it sheep?
No, I don't know. Yeah, it's not. It's just old.
So why do some animals have a different name when they're food? Like,
Yeah.
why
are some animals-
Cow is beef,
Yeah.
pig is pork, chicken, just chicken.
Yeah.
Poultry,
Yeah.
lamb, and then mutton.
Mutton. Lamb.
Yeah.
It's like why did lambs taste so more delicious when they're young?
Because they're
I don't know.
babies and it tastes great to
Because
eat babies.
veal's a young. Veal's a young cow, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Again, just call it a calf. I'm eating a calf.
What's wrong with an old cow? Some beef tastes the
Sinewy.
same.
No, yeah, old cow's probably, I don't know, lazy.
Mince it. It all tastes the same.
Old grey mare sheep ain't what she used to
So yeah, Jack Cogger gets my house off for this week. In a
He's
game,
been a rock
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the side.
yeah, and look, there was
Not always a good thing.
There was lots of standouts that in a time that we needed, because obviously Schiller passed the ball that I don't think anyone thinks was forward. 4
Nope.
minutes out, and we get Jaden Brayley going over for a try, and they called it back and they said it's a forward pass.
That was the least forward pass. And we've seen so many forward passes go, especially in try scoring situations. We've seen so many forward passes get let go in the spirit of giving a try.
Yeah.
But finally we see one where they got it bloody friggin' wrong.
Yeah.
And it was for the Knights. Only the Knights would have that call go against us.
It could have been such a time for the Knights to say, well, we could have won. We were robbed of that win. No, we still dug in the last 4 minutes and got the try 3 minutes later. But speaking of Jaden Brayley scoring that try,
Yes.
he did nothing wrong, but we have to return a house to a heads in a segment we'll have to call Has Back On.
Do you put your hat on?
And mine goes to Jaden Brayley.
Okay. Now, I'd love to know why, Naggy. Elucidate upon that, if you will.
Jaden seems to have found his running game once again.
Yep.
And
Loves a fourth tackle run. He absolutely loves a fourth tackle sneak run.
on occasion, he does get the markers offside, and we do get a six again. He's starting to find his running game again, which is fantastic for a man that doesn't have a working knee.
It's quite a commendable, in fact.
He does
yeah.
it all from his iPhone, and then he's got an app. It's called My Knees, and then he has to do that on the screen, and both the knees start going, and he gets into a bit of a canter. Not a sprint. No. But so he decided to do this, and it was a real turning point in the game where he went down the middle, and it looked like a good run, 15-meter run, but then he forces the ball. He gets tackled and he knocks the ball on, and I thought, Jesus, Jaden, you could have cost us that game. He could have won us that game off a bad call, but it was just something that I every time that Jaden does something great, and then he follows it up with something shit, and it really pains me to give the hats back onto Jaden because I love him, but there are those moments where I said, well, thank God you're going to be gone next year.
Well, I'm glad, Naggy. I'm very, very glad, Naggy, that you've brought up Jaden Brayley and his being gone next year, because I think it's time that we need to have the Jaden Brayley, Matt Arthur discussion.
Yeah.
Now, Adam O'Brien is fighting for his life
Yeah.
as the Newcastle Knights rugby league coach.
Heart in his mouth.
And I think heart in his mouth, the decision he's making is, I have to win every game, so I'm going to stick with old, reliable Jaden Brayley, even though he'll be gone next year, at the expense of blooding, the young up-and-coming hooker, Matt Arthur. Do you think it's time where we say, Jaden, brother, my brother in Christ, you've given it your all, but, mate, you're gone next year. We need to build for the future. We're going to put Matt Arthur in. Is it time to tap Jaden on the shoulder? And given the man that Jaden Brayley is, he will take it with grace. He will handle the situation well. The passing of the torch will be smooth.
Yeah.
and Matt Arthur will.
very, very emotional here, Liam. It's all right. Let it out. Feel your feelings, Liam.
I'm feeling my feelings. I have so many feelings right now. They're coming out of my lungs very moistly.
Yeah.
But do you think it's time that we need to have the conversation that Jaden made? It's time to step down because we need to bring Matt Arthur in, especially given that I think it's safe to say Phoenix played pretty well at lock.
Yeah.
And maybe his role
Sam said
moving
it last
forward
week,
is
yeah.
not... Yeah, of course, yes. That was what made me think about it. Watch a bit more on him. And is it maybe time where we start building the Brayley... the Matt Arthur
Matt
9,
Arthur, yeah.
Phoenix Crossland 13
Well,
sort of spine element.
I'm a little bit surprised we haven't seen a little bit more Matt Arthur on the bench.
But do you think it has to do with Adam O'Brien's "we have to win or I'm out of a job"?
And possibly Brad Arthur coming in. He thinks, well, geez, if his son's playing well, that's basically signing my resignation right there. I just feel like
It's like the $2 coin on the side of the pool table.
he
It's
sees
just like, my kid's here, I'll be here.
I'll be here
I'll be
soon.
next.
I'll take the cue. Thank you, Adam. He's waiting.
Great
there.
idea.
He's
What a
waiting.
great idea.
And I just feel like at the moment they want to get a good, 60 minutes out of a hooker, and they're going to Jaden Brayley. I'm getting emotional now.
So many emotions.
so
They're
many
coming out
emotions.
of us in the weirdest ways.
But of course, we have to know that
I think I'm about to fight out a cry.
Jaden Brayley has to go over to be put out to pasture as an old lamb to the Canberra Raiders. That's where we send our hookers.
That's where we send everyone. We're going to look at the lineups later on. Good damn.
Danny
We're the
Levi's-
feeder club for the Canberra Raiders. It's ridiculous. And they're better than us. How does that work?
How does that happen? We're not really sure. But and also just obviously very amiss for getting a hats off was Brady Jones again scoring the final try of the game. He's done it before. He did it a few years ago with the Sharks. He's done it a couple of times this year as just this, a prop that doesn't have a neck to speak of. He's just head, shoulders,
Knees,
toes. Brody
Brody
Jones,
Jones.
the druff himself.
That man has stepped up so many times for the Knights in the last few years. I think it's easily forgotten.
Yeah, coming into
And
this
he's a good
season,
Hunter Valley boy, local boy, wonderful, wonderful boy. So to see him get the try, just fantastic.
every
Love
year it
Brody
seems
Jones.
like he's fighting for his next year contract. We've extended him.
And every year he performs well enough to get another contract.
Yeah.
I think we saw the extension this year. Yeah, I don't know. Brody Jones, he's just maybe the Bill Peden of the
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
No, that's stupid. Bill Peden won a Clive Churchill and scored 2 tries in the 2001.
Did he win the
Grand
Clive
Final.
Churchill?
No, he didn't win the Clive Churchill.
He didn't win the
Robbie
Clive.
O won Clive Churchill in
And
97.
Andrew Jones, yeah. But he scored,
He scored 2 tries,
Could have got the
Clive.
Could have got the Clive in the 01, scoring 2 tries in the first half.
That's it. He
and-
won the
and-
Clive Churchill in my heart.
and
That's
he,
why.
he also went from playing hooker in 97 to playing lock. So yeah, look,
There you go. Jaden Brayley's gone. Brody Jones.
Brody
Pack
Jones
him in the middle of the scrum.
he can do it all. He just seems like he's a building block for a club that needs those important ones. Is he, the best forward out there? No. Can he? He used to play centre. Can he probably still that? No. He's not very big or fast or he doesn't have those athleticism attached to him. But
He's never going to be your best player,
No.
but he's the kind of player that every squad needs.
Yes, I agree.
When he's got a job,
Yeah.
goddamn, he's going to do that job or he's going to die bloody trying.
Yeah.
And good on him.
Yeah.
Now, I want to address, a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
we discovered a new phenomenon when it
Yeah.
comes to the hats off, hats on, is the Schrodinger's hat.
Yes.
Where for a player, you take your hat off, but at the same time, you put your hat back on. And I think James Spiller this year is just going to be the perennial Schrodinger's hat.
Yeah.
Because to watch James Spiller's game, not great.
Not great.
Not great.
Yeah.
But when you look at James Spiller's, now I forgot to mention to Sam that I'd like to see these numbers on the screen, so I'll use my telephone for it.
We can go back to
So
that.
to watch James, and it was the same in the game where he scored the try a couple of weeks ago, where he did the frontwards flip. That was really quite good.
Yes.
Where you watch the game, you thought he wasn't very good. Then you look at the try he scored and the numbers he ran. So in this game, watching it, you'd say James Spiller wasn't great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, James Spiller ran for
187 meters.
100.
Yep.
Where is he on here?
Down the bottom. Yeah, he's wearing 20.
Yeah, 187 meters, 57 post contact, 6 tackle breaks, and a line break.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Good.
cannot get a read on James Spiller.
No
It's
one can.
bizarre.
No one
you
can.
watch the game and you think he didn't have a great game, but then you look at his numbers and watch what he actually did when he was doing the things that weren't great.
Yeah.
And you're like, he's doing a really good job of being an outside back. I cannot get a read on him. It's so exciting.
When he was
He's
playing-
like, you know what? He's sort of Kenny Dowell-esque.
Yeah. Very,
That's where I think that's the comparison I draw, is that he's Kenny Dowell-esque, where the errors he makes, you notice them. But then also you get to the end of the game and you're like, oh shit, he did actually a fair bit of really good stuff.
He's adding a lot to the
including
team.
throwing a perfectly legal rugby league pass for a disallowed try.
That's right.
I think maybe if that try doesn't get disallowed and it gets given because it was a legal rugby league pass,
Yes.
James Spiller might be in the conversation for a hats off. He's such a bizarre player.
Bizarre.
And it was
23
like-
years old as well. I thought he was older.
And I think
He's only 23.
Only
a
23.
youth. He's just a boy.
Yeah,
But I think...
We're
and-
comparing him to a 31-year-old Sean Kenny Dow.
Yeah.
So
But I remember Gus
he's
Gould
odd.
said once about Sean Kenny Dowell, like, if you don't have him on your team,
Yeah.
you hate him.
Yeah.
And then when you do have him on your team, you love him. I don't know. It was
thought it
something
was
weird like that.
Tyson
But
Gamble.
yeah.
So we already have one of
Unlike
those.
got a few of
Jackson,
those, I
unlike
think.
Jackson Hastings, where if you don't have him on your team, you hate him. If you have him on your team, you hate him even more.
You'll hate him soon.
I think, yeah, I'm really starting to get Sean Kenny Dowell vibes off James Spiller.
Spiller, yeah.
And it's so exciting.
Yeah. You don't know what you're going to get.
Nah.
Last time he was
Oh,
playing
wild.
with the Canberra Raiders at home against the Knights was in that 2023 final where he scores 2 tries against us.
Yeah.
So hopefully he can return the favour and score some tries against Canberra.
But I
think that's how it
thought,
works.
and again, I think it was a game that was largely driven by the outside backs. You know, I
Yeah.
think the forwards had a fine job. The young blokes, Saturday Squarehead James McEwen,
Yeah.
Jermaine McEwen rather, Elijah Salesa Moana.
Yeah.
Both good games. They came out and they just went willy-nilly, just went ham on everyone.
Yeah.
I like that.
Tommy Cant, of course, remains as no, he didn't play, did he?
He didn't play.
He didn't
also,
play. He was on there.
Both Safidis didn't play. Yeah, and so
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I didn't think about
it was
that.
a Safidi-free game.
Yeah, but I think in the absence of a dominant, powerful forward pack, and I think if we
Yeah.
look at the stats, it'll very much show that where the Dolphins definitely are ahead on all of the statistical categories that really matter,
Yeah.
and yet they didn't win the rugby league game.
More possession. They were making more every set of 6. It was. Are you okay? Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Josh was making some funny faces. I thought I was upsetting him. They were making every more meters through their set of 6, and
More line breaks.
More line breaks with 6 line breaks.
Each set they were running further than the Knights with the average set distance. It really felt like a David and Goliath battle, and David friggin' won.
And they felt
And
like
that David has no neck. It's Brody Jones.
Of course, their danger guy also gets binned for 10 at a crucial time. We just had so many excuses of why we could have won that game, but instead we won. And it's so strange that we did, but I'm happy for it.
But in non-Knights fashion, that Dane Gagai sin bin, very much a sin bin.
Very much. Oh, of course.
It was not 50-50.
No,
it wasn't
no,
touch
no.
and go. It was just he grabbed a bloke when he
did it.
shouldn't have.
He shouldn't have done
Yeah.
it. No, you can't
Yeah.
do that. Not in
No.
this day and age.
So that win, it filled me with joy.
Yeah.
It buoyed my spirits.
And it goes an
Made for a
important
happy
win,
day.
making it 6 wins, 9 losses rather than a 5-win, 10 losses. That sounds a whole lot worse.
And speaking of which, of course, the Knights hit that magic 80-10 number that we're looking for, completing
80-10.
above 80%, making below 10 errors. That's
Yeah.
good.
7 errors.
7 errors, not many.
We used to do that in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Now we stressed that right over
Yeah.
a full game. It looked like it was going to go to Golden Point.
Yeah.
Everyone says Knights are shit in Golden Point.
Well, we won the last one.
Won the last one.
Yeah.
Don't even need Golden Point. Throw it away. We got Brody Jones going over, and it gave us all joys in the trousers.
Wouldn't you love to see Fletcher Hunt in there, though?
Fletcher Hunt.
Maybe next week.
I think he'll get his opportunity. But this week, Liam, we have the Raiders.
Hey, Ricky, lose tonight's on Friday night. Hey, Ricky. Hey, Ricky. Hey, Ricky, lose tonight's on Friday night. Hey, Ricky. Hey, Ricky.
Thank you, Crocodile.
We love rap on this show, don't we?
Yeah,
We're big
yeah,
rap
yeah.
fans.
Now, the Raiders find themselves right up there at the top of the table, sitting second, I
Playing some
believe.
bloody good footy.
Yeah, playing some great
bloody
footy.
good footy.
A lot of people had Raiders well outside the 8, even finishing last with their squad, and they've done
Really?
something. Yeah.
Oh.
They've done something magical.
Wow.
And they find themselves.
Who
way
said
up there.
that?
Lots of people. Lots of
Oh,
people. They
okay.
just say, like the Raiders are like the Knights, or anyone outside of like
Donald.
anyone that sits in Sydney or Brisbane. They go, oh, who's going to be shit? Newcastle.
Yeah,
Canberra.
you're right.
They-
It's no one who's not a Raiders fan watches Raiders games.
No,
it's the same with the
no.
Knights, same with the Gold Coast. If you're not a fan of that team, you're not going to watch that game.
Yeah.
Unless you're a psychopath.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so they've got a
And
basically.
we are psychopaths, so we've watched plenty of them.
They got a full strength side, minus Hudson Young, who is a bit of a return of Christmas past there. Raiders love signing ex-Knights.
Well, that's it. We were looking at the team sheet earlier in the week and we tallied it up. There's only four former
ex-Knights.
Knights players in the 17-man squad, which is not many.
Do we include Tom Starling in that?
Yep. So Tom, obviously we've got Tom Starling, we've got
Joseph Tarpany,
Zach Hosking, Simi Sasagi. Then in the extended squad, they've got 2 more as well.
Yeah,
and of course,
Danny Levi,
Hudson Young from the area, Pasami Solo there in the extended bench. So I think only having 4 ex-Knights in the Raiders 17 would have to be a record low
it's a
over
record
the
low.
last few years. But let's face it, to be quite honest, this Raiders team and the way they're playing, it's scary.
It's scary.
It's scary. KO Weeks at fullback, he is freakishly, ridiculously fast.
Too good.
He loves a chip and chase. He's very good at it.
Yeah.
The back line filled with power. Timoko, Chris Savage. Don't know much about Jed Stewart, but that's a powerful back line.
Yeah.
Jamal Fogarty's in there to steer them around. But
Going to Manly next year. Hopefully that displays on his mind that he's not going to be there next year. They don't want him.
how depressing that must be. Like, I'm going to have to live in Manly in 6 months.
Starting Tom Starling, who's always dangerous with his running game through the middle.
And the
But their
forward pack
front
of
row
Canberra is terrifying.
Yeah.
It's big. They're powerful. You know, Joe Tarpany might be one of the top 3 props on this planet.
Yeah.
Currently, as we speak, Josh Papali is aging like a fine Chateau Neuf de Pape. He's just getting better.
Delicious.
And also, he's 100 years old.
Yeah.
This is a side that really, really does worry me. But the Knights have a good record against the Raiders. You know,
Strange record against the Raiders. They always have good games.
Yeah, even in 2016, the year of 1 win and 1 draw, that 1 draw was against the Raiders, and the other game against the Raiders was a close loss.
2017, we also beat them comfortably in a time that we shouldn't have beat them. We've got a win against them in 2024, and then they also beat us in 2024.
That'd be the finals win, wouldn't it? The 2024 one?
No,
is that way ago?
2023. You've lost a year.
What's happened?
Yeah, what was the final? What was the loss at home? Was that the finals the year before? 2023?
No, that's back. It's still in March. We're talking. I think it was the next game we played. Round 1. It was round 1 in 2024.
Disappointing.
Yeah, and
such high hopes.
Yeah. They really came out for a revenge game. We are welcoming back Jacob Saifidi to the front row, which is exciting.
It could not be a better timed return.
He's an actual front rower playing in the front row.
Like groundbreaking coaching, putting a front rower in the front row. And I think
Fletcher Sharp is dropping out of the side, of course, because his organs have exploded. But we have Jackson Hastings.
Again, a resounding endorsement of Jackson Hastings. Someone has to literally almost die for them to put Jackson Hastings in.
Literally near death. Yeah. We need a hospitalisation before the Jackson Hastings get a look in. So he's back in, but we still have Kalen Ponga, Bradman Best, Dom Young. We have these fast strike around. And we think potentially, I know where we are in the ladder.
And we know where they are on the ladder.
With a big girth between us. That we think,
big girth inside us.
It is also beanies for brain cancer round for Mark Hughes.
Good, because it's going to be bloody freezing.
Yeah, I think everyone will need the beanie. Perfect timing, really, if you want to sell some beanies. Yeah,
imagine how much that campaign would have failed if it was like Hawaiian shirts for brain cancer and you're playing a game in like late June in Newcastle.
Like, I'm supporting brain cancer.
No one would buy one.
No,
beanies was it was about the best decision they could have made was to market beanies. Great call, Boozy. Well done.
Well done, Boozy.
Friend of the show, Mark Hughes.
Great friend of the show.
But I think given how good the Knights sort of back 5 have been generating go forward and laying a platform, they are really, really going to need to step it up. Like, they're going to have to take it to another level. And I think they've got it in them, absolutely. Dom Young really has bounced back well. I've always loved him. I never stopped loving him. I've said that many, many times. Yeah. But I think this game is going to have to be the back 5's best game of the year because that Canberra forward pack, if you look at it, 1-for-1 against the Newcastle Knights forward pack, they're ahead in every position.
Yeah, even having like Hosking, who's just when he's on, he's always very good, which is disappointing considering where he's from.
Corey Horsburgh, real point to prove. Yeah. Billy just won't pick him, and he's had a point to prove this season with Billy refusing to pick him, and he's been really proving said point.
Yeah, I think if we can get through the first early stages of the game without Canberra Raiders getting a good sniff and blowing it out. rotating the players like Matt Croker and Brodie Jones. These are
But
players
just
that
put
have been,
Brodie Jones on and we'll win.
they will
Easy.
win. They've been starting the game in the middle. I think they've grown a lot in this time to take on that responsibility, hold the middle against a big Canberra forward pack. I think if we didn't have anything, the players coming back like Frizzell and Jacob Saifidi, we would be.
Oh,
in
there's
strife.
some big ins. Yeah, there are some big
Big
ins.
strife.
And
We
you
need
know
it
what?
right at the right time.
You know what? Kind of confident about it. I mean, I'm not, but I kind of am.
Strangely
I'm not
confident.
confident,
I'm
but I'm
strangely confident.
strangely confident.
Strangely confident. Now, Liam, of course, us being the fixers, Liam, we have to fix something every week to make sure that the world is working in the way that it should.
Because the world doesn't work in the way that it should.
No,
the world
no, no,
works,
no.
but in the ways that it shouldn't.
It
We
shouldn't.
need to make it work in the ways that it should. What are we
Yes.
fixing this week, Naggy?
Well, Liam, I've had a good think about this, and when a lot of people drive cars,
They do, yes.
Yourself, you drive a car,
Yep.
I drive a car, and when you're approaching a roundabout with two lanes, and one lane you can turn left or go straight, another one you can turn right or go straight.
You've
So-
got both options, really.
Yeah, when you're in the outside lane and you approach the roundabout's busy. It's got a lot of cars. That's what roundabouts do. They churn traffic. And when you come up there, you often are blinded by the car on your inside to see whether you're available to go or not.
Yeah.
You can't see whether that you can turn, so you can go straight or I don't know. I can't see whether it's clear because you're obstructed by
Exactly.
the car there. And then the car alongside you moves forward, and you think, well, if he's moving forward, I must be clear.
Well, that's it. You're really putting blind faith in your fellow man
That's
in the
right.
car
Yeah.
to your left,
Yeah.
which is never
Car to
advisable.
your right, if you will. Yeah.
Never advisable to put faith in your fellow man.
No.
But this is one of the situations where you really are relying on, your fellow man to shield you, to protect you.
Driving's a very friendly thing. You do lots of waves. Sometimes it's either very friendly or very, very hateful.
I remember when I used to have my Nissan Bluebird, I'd wave at everyone with a burgundy Nissan Bluebird.
Yeah.
And one time it turned out to be Carl McDonald's girlfriend, I
No
think.
way.
Friend of the show.
A good friend of the show. So there was
Might have been Carl McDonald himself, actually. I don't
have
know.
been.
Carl was there,
Carl was
and
there.
he had a matching car.
Wanderer's Legend.
Yeah.
So I think that would fix the problem of having the blind
Mm-hmm.
faith in the person that you don't know is if they had a light, because they can help you out by just flicking on a light, maybe a purple light, something
Okay.
that's not, and just being like, it's all clear, bud.
You're good.
You're good
You're
to
in the
go.
clear.
You don't have to follow me blind and think, well, if you're going to get T-boned, then I'm also going to be involved in this crash.
Because it's the same as well if you're at, just a regular intersection and
Yeah.
you're turning left
Yeah.
and the car next to you is turning right, but it's much bigger than you. So
That's
you
right.
kind of,
Can't see.
can't reach out.
Give us an all clear, bud.
Is the solution maybe to just get rid of roundabouts?
Potentially.
Canberra would be ground to a halt.
Central Coast wouldn't exist. Many people I know in the Central Coast live on roundabouts.
I don't get people who are no good at roundabouts though. It's not that complicated.
No,
it's
mate,
not that hard.
No.
I used to be, I'm terrible at roundabouts. How?
So
It's easy.
They're
Either
fine.
there is a car coming at you or there isn't.
There's
It's
something.
simple.
There's something
I
marvelous
sometimes
about
look the
roundabouts.
wrong way. How?
Yeah. Look,
How
traffic.
do you look the wrong way?
Four-way traffic light system is very complicated.
Yeah.
You need electricity. When the power goes out, then everyone's just
See,
guessing.
because that's money.
A roundabout.
Money.
You just put it there. You don't even need anything. You just paint a line. Everyone knows what to do. It's a
Yeah.
magical thing.
And
But
then, of
what it
course, you
needs-
have the conundrum where people also mix up when they should indicate when
Yeah.
they're going off a roundabout.
That's right.
People think if you're in a two-lane roundabout and you're going straight, when you go straight, you indicate that
Okay.
you're leaving the roundabout. You
Yeah.
don't indicate that you're leaving the roundabout because you're continuing straight.
That's right. Yeah, indication's very, very
They don't
difficult.
teach us in schools.
They don't. No. What do they teach? Rubbish.
Rubbish.
But Liam, that's of course fixing roundabouts. But if you've got to fix anything important like appliances, you need the appliance guy. And Kate Chesworth, you can call the appliance guy for fixing all of the important things.
They'll teach you how to use a roundabout as well.
Yeah.
probably.
He is fantastic at roundabouts.
Yeah.
If you live near a roundabout, he's definitely
He built
gonna
one.
He's gonna, yeah, he can build it and fixes it. And he's
He
definitely
fixed my cul-de-sac into a roundabout.
They go, please fix my cul-de-sac. Kate Chesworth is reliable to fix any of your appliance needs, all of your white goods, all of the different coloured
He
goods.
could he could be installing the light on the car that you've proposed.
He could do it. He's a
he could do it
marvel.
all.
He's an absolute marvel. And he's reliable, and you can give him a call on this number.
0414 760 542.
Make sure you give, thank you very much, Croc. Give Kate Chesworth a call. Liam, I think that might wrap things up for this week. But if you like us, you can like us on all the social pipes, including YouTube, SoundCloud. We're not on SoundCloud anymore. Fuck. TikTok, Instagram. Yeah,
We're slowly but surely cutting down. We canned Elon. We've canned SoundCloud. What's next?
you can hit subscribe on YouTube if you like. If
The
you wanna
Communist
keep
Party
seeing us.
hasn't shut us down yet, so we're still on TikTok.
definitely our last episode. You won't see us again.
We're very pro-commie on this show, though, to be fair.
Yeah, we might have to move even further away from the mainstream and become a pirated radio station that you can only
that be
tune
fun?
in. Yeah, we'll be
That'd
on
be
a
a
boat.
great time,
Yeah. But to play us out,
What was that old community radio station in Newcastle? You guys remember? Was it 2NUR FM?
Yeah, probably.
Community radio
there.
station?
It's still there.
Uni.
Still
there.
Yeah,
That's
so
at the
Good on
uni.
them. We should get on that. If 2NUR, if you're listening, give us a call.
it's gonna be
I've got nothing to do.
Hopefully, we'll be tuning back in next week to make sure that we have a miraculous win against the Canberra Raiders, top of the table. It's going to be fantastic, and I look forward to seeing you there. But to play us out, once again, our musical guest for this week, Mr. Crocodile Jones.
Ba-da-da-da. 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 Ba-da-da-da.
Sammy Dance Pants. Woo!